Welcome back to Sonic Advance! It's the bonus episode, but there's like one bonus thing to actually check out. Pretty much covered everything else. This is going to be an episode covering the Tiny Chao Garden, which is underwhelming compared to the actual Chao Gardens from the adventure games. And of course I wasn't the biggest fan of those either. So, in order to hatch an egg, just pet it a whole lot. Here's your Chao. You can pet it by pressing the A button. That's about it. You can also rename it by hovering over the name and pressing A. Pokapoo is an okay name, but, you know, let's go with something a little better. I've got a good name for this Chao in mind, something a little more personal. It's Punch 2, the sequel to Punch. You remember Punch, right? From the Adventure LP? It's everybody's favorite Chao, or at least Knuckles' favorite Chao. So, let's take Punch 2 out to play. There are two mini-games, both of which I don't like. This one is a rock, paper, scissors game, where you basically have to either beat or match each of the panels surrounding our dear child. Of course, if you send a losing triangle up to one of the squares, that does nothing. However, if you beat or at least match the tiles, then it will clear it. Of course, it's better to get a winning match rather than a middling one. However, both successes aren't... They don't get you that much. One success is, an amount of rings, but it doesn't really recover time or panels that much. This is the other game we can play. It's a memory game. But it's not any ordinary memory game. It's a memory game where your child betrays you and messes up the board after you've taken a look at it and, tried to commit everything to memory. Basically, the points you get are determined by the panels everything is on. Normally I would cheat for something like this, but I didn't feel like it. And I mean, come on, would somebody cheating do this? I mean, technically speaking, that would actually be the optimal way to play this, is just save state and save load, so I never make mistakes. But that sounded really boring for a memory match, so I didn't. Which is weird because I feel like that's the slightly better way to go about getting rings. Speaking of rings, press the L button to get the shop. We have a whole lot of items we can get. Many of them are super expensive, so I'm not going to be able to afford them. Though, that's not entirely by design. I'll get to that in just a moment, but just know that we're absolutely not going to be seeing everything here. Especially since these mini-games don't really give me many rings at a time. Like, you can get a time bonus by, of course, clearing all of them and getting to the next, I guess, round of things, but I never go more than one or two rounds in a row, so it's not one that gets me rings that often. Items will give your Chao different stats. I'll just throw up a chart of all of the items and what they do. There are also other Chao eggs, but I don't think you can have more than one Chao at a time. Now, there is one thing about Tiny Chao Garden that's kind of nice. It can actually connect to the adventure games, so you can transfer your child to Sonic Adventure 1 or 2 on the GameCube, or vice versa, but given how much easier Chao raising is in the adventure games, I don't know. I guess the main thing about this is pretty much just, if you're on a trip and, you can't access Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2, then this might be a good way to basically just hook your Chao into the portable game, train it a little bit there while you're gone, and then when you're back you can just, put the Chao back in. That's pretty much the best use I can think of for Tiny Chao Garden. Now, that being said, the mini-games kind of suck, but they weren't the only way you were supposed to be able to get rings. And considering there aren't any microtransaction or fake currencies in the game, you can probably tell that you weren't, supposed to get that many rings by getting mini-games, and there was another way to do so that wasn't horrible. That wasn't just a huge waste of time. And that is, you are supposed to be able to bank rings from playing the actual game. Like, if you play well and get a whole lot of rings per stage, you should have been able to get a whole lot of rings by just playing the game normally. And that would be a much better way to raise the chow. But you might be wondering then, why am I not, flush with rings by this point? I did a no-hit run, I should have plenty of rings, right? Well, here's the problem. There is a huge glitch that was not actually patched in any revisions of this game that the US got. Basically, if you reset the game data, if I remember correctly, basically what happens is, it won't erase the Tiny Chow Garden data, but that does cause an issue where you can't bank rings from the main game anymore. It is a very bad glitch that really limits Tiny Chow Garden. Like, in this state, it goes from, hey, this is kind of a cute idea to, maybe help you along in playing the proper Chow Gardens when you only have access to a handheld device. But, it takes it from that to, wow, this is just completely useless and unfun. And unfortunately, I got hit with this glitch when I was a kid and I owned the game. The reason being is, I bought the game used, and I saw that there was data on it, and decided, oh, I don't want that, I want to play this game fresh, which, was a bad idea in the first place, because I never got the special stages on my own back in the day, so I never got to do the supersonic fight. But it also meant that I definitely wasn't getting the Tiny Chow Garden to be of any use or any amount of fun. Theoretically, whoever owned the game beforehand, before I bought it, might have also wiped their game data, so who knows, maybe I wouldn't have gotten to have a good version of Tiny Chow Garden anyway. But because I reset the data, that just assured that, yeah, I'm not getting any rings from this at all, without just a significant amount of grinding in a very unfun version of the game. With some very unfun minigames. And it is a bit of a shame, really. I would like to show off a little bit more rather than just have all of, most of what you can do limited to a text box. However, I'm guessing due to the nature of, compiling the ROM or whatever, the ROM I got, at least, does not have Tiny Chow Garden, which kind of sucks. I did try clearing the battery data in case it was something I did, because, theoretically, that should get rid of it, but no. I downloaded a fresh ROM, wouldn't download a car, but I would do that, and yeah, tried to play from that, but nope, nothing. No matter what, I just could not get a version of the game without the glitch, so here I am. I don't know if that's true for all of them. Maybe I just didn't look hard enough on the dark webs. But yeah, just that's kind of how it worked out, so here we are. Lackluster Tiny Chow Garden. Also, I probably just should have save stated on the memory match minigame, and that would have just been way better. I mean, technically speaking, I think it would have taken a little longer per game, but I would have also been earning more per game, so probably would have saved me time in the long run. Shrug? I don't know. Either way, though, yeah, I'm just gonna do this for the rest of the episode. Do I have anything else to say about Tiny Chow Garden? I mean, I guess to be fair, I did check the Adventure LP, just to, remember when I named one of the Chow Punch 2, or Punch the First, and to make sure it was just called Punch, and not Punchy, and I didn't just, shorten that because I had fewer characters in this game. No, it was Punch. Punch and Emerald were Knuckles' children. Knuckles is great at naming. But yeah, I did that and then just immediately recoiled when I started the episode, because God, it's really weird hearing my voice before I came out. I don't know why I sounded like that, but like, just for some reason pre-coming out, and I wasn't trying to do this on purpose or anything, but I just sounded kind of like this, or something like that. I don't even know. Why did I sound like a Stardust Crusaders character? I couldn't tell you, but, you know, I like how I sound way more nowadays, so I guess that was kind of a nice thing about, you know, having to check back on an old LP to double-check a thing for this one. Is just, I can be more satisfied with myself nowadays, you know. I'm not always 100% happy with my voice, and yeah, I feel like I should be practicing a bit more than I am, but like, you know, I'm doing better. So that was a nice thing to kind of think of. Sometimes it's nice to just check back on your own progress. Probably by now I've cut, I think there's a bit of dead air between me stopping saying things and now. I didn't even buy you barbells, Punch 2, so you don't have to worry about that. I mean, I can't buy you barbells, but even if I could, they'd be way too expensive for me to buy for you. Like, even the trumpet is just a stupid amount of money. I can't buy anything. All I can buy is just the worst food and sometimes remove weeds, so I guess that's just gonna be your existence, Punch 2. I'm sorry about that, but like, what can I do? Nothing.